All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Limitless MD. I'm your host, Vikram Raya, and today we're going to talk about centimillionaires. You may be wondering, what the heck is a centimillionaire? A centimillionaire is a person with a net worth of $100 million or more. And it's interesting. Over the last, 2 to 3 weeks, I've been traveling quite a bit. I've been traveling for business, for work, for pleasure, for all of it. And life has taken me to a couple of different places. So I went out to Phoenix, went with some friends. I was also, meeting with some business partners, was meeting and looking at some assets as well for Viking Capital. And, I met a friend and, he's the first centimillionaire I met. And then this past week, I was in Denver for a conference and I got to meet two other buddies of mine and they're also centimillionaires. And so it's an interesting thing. And I was just thinking about, hey, what do these guys have in common? How are these ultra high net worth individuals have in common? And if you want to know what the definition of an ultra high net worth individual is, it's a person with a net worth of about 30 million or more. So these people are like uber ultra net worth. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because you guys are high performers on this podcast. This is a Limitless podcast. We're talking about freedom, wealth, and human optimization, right? So let's dig into this a little bit on how these high performers have achieved this. And these are first generation ultra high net worth individuals. These are not people born with a silver spoon in their mouth, right? They've done things, they've created things, they've added value, tremendous value to the world, and hence they're rewarded with obviously the income, the cash flow, and the net worth. But I'll tell you this, they're nothing unique in terms of, when you see them on the street, you would think, hey, this is an average Joe. In fact, some of them you think they're actually below average based on some of their characteristics, but they have this uncanny ability to perceive, do, share, build, and create and add tremendous value to this world. And so let me break it down and sort of share with you the big three key topics we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about degree, decree, and vision. Number two, solving mega problems. And number three, family first. What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? My name is Vikram Raya, functional cardiologist, high performance coach, and real estate expert. And I'm here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life so you can unlock your limitless potential and achieve greatness, all the while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in. So let's get into it. Degree, decree, and vision. What do I mean? Well, these people don't have stellar degrees. They have a degree. They've all went to college. Yes, they may have done even master's or a doctorate, but whatever the point is, it's not because they went to Harvard's, Yale's, Duke's, Stanford's of the world. They went to reasonable schools, normal schools. It was not the degree that got on there. It was a decree. When I mean decree, D-E-C-R-E-E, decree. You're decreeing to the world. You're declaring to the world what you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to sacrifice to get it. And so that vision, that bold vision, and then putting all your horsepower and boom, you're going for it. That was what I've noticed was one of the commonalities. The next commonality I noticed between these three centimillionaires was this. They want to solve big problems, right? They're not here to, help one patient or one investor or just one part of the country. Literally, they want to, help a region, a state, potentially the whole country, right? They're solving big problems, and they're impacting, thousands of people. And then finally, what was unusual was I found that all three people were superb family folks, family first. They're all happily married. None of them are divorced. They are, they have children, multiple children, and they really care about their family. And, family first could be just a cute saying, a cliche that sometimes that people throw out when they're truly just focused on their business. But these people really care about their family. In fact, they had strict boundaries on when they could work and when it was family time. And these people also enjoyed their life. It's not because they're, like working, 90-hour work weeks. They worked hard, as you will, but they also played hard, which was really cool. So that's some of the three commonalities. And I also want to the epiphany I had when I spoke to these people, and again, they're friends. So I was able to, talk to them sort of, off the cuff, if you will. I asked, a lot of people say, hey, I'm looking for the success hacks, the quick tips, the 5 things you need to do so you can get your first big win in 90 days, right? So there's this ultra short-term thinking. Many of us in the high performance and high income professionals, we believe in this short-term 60, 90, 1 year thought process time frame. Then we have the long-term time frame. Hey, you know what? Success is going to take you decades. It'll take you 20 years, 30 years to get to your goals, to get to your net worth, to get to that impact, to get that legacy kind of, victories you want in life. But what I found is when I spoke to these people, these 3 individuals, they've been able to achieve success not in the ultra short, but in relatively sort of a midterm time frame. Within 3 to 7 years, they created exponential progress, wealth, cash flow, as well as putting a stamp and becoming one of the leaders in their industry. So realize that if you dedicate yourself and master one field within 3 to 7 years, you can be on top of that field, number one. So the first person, really was in the medical field. They created, a medical clinic that was successful. They replicated that model over multiple locations and eventually sold to private equity for 9 figures. It was tremendous. The interesting thing is the takeaway I learned from that is, one, they remain hungry. Like technically he can go live on an island, sip margaritas all day long, but he's still thinking, hey, what's the next step? What can I do next? How can I help more? How can I do more? The second person was a real estate entrepreneur. And there's so many different things he could be doing, but he chose to stay super focused on one thing. And I love the fact that he had blinders on and he's remained super focused. And the shiny object syndrome not existed for him. By staying relentless and monomaniacally focused on one thing, he was able to accelerate his growth, accelerate his impact, and accelerate his income in such an explosive way. Now, the third person, it was interesting. It was different than the other 2. This person understands business systems, business processes, knows how to grow teams, knows how to use leverage wisely. And he became successful across multiple industries using the same business model, the same business thought process. He's expert at creating teams and creating systems and processes to where he is truly an owner and not an operator. So those are the sort of the 3 flavors of being this ultra high net worth individual from 3 different angles. And as I'm trying to learn myself and grow my companies, as well as help and coach, thousands of other people and mentor people, and also I want to share the knowledge that I've learned. Here are the sort of the 6 big lessons that I want you guys to take away with. Number 1, you must take risk to be this level of success. You cannot play small. You must take calculated risk, and you must learn to mitigate that risk. You must do whatever it is. So for every dollar you risk, you have 100x in terms of returns. Asymmetric risk reward is what we call it. Number 2, you must be an owner and not an operator. If you're getting a W-2, you can never achieve this. It's not possible. If your inputs directly correlate with your outputs, that's not how the game works. You need to have, for every 1 input you do, you have exponential outputs. And you have to get to, at some point, to 1 to many. 1 to 1 is very difficult to really scale and grow. Number 3, you have to have a big vision, but even bigger execution. Many people I know have big visions. They have beautiful visions. They have, dreams and goals, but not that many people I know can execute, and execute on that big level. So learn to be a big executor. Number 4, there's something called the decade of brilliance. And it's usually between about age 35 to maybe age 40 to about 45 to about 50. So this 10 years, depending on when you start and really get going, there's 10 years of where you have this optionality of exponential growth. And I'll give you an example. I was sort of working out with my little nephew, and he's not so little anymore, but in ninth grade, 10th grade, I was encouraging him. He's starting to eat well. He's starting to work out. He's trying to lift weights. And I was like, yeah, man, let's go. And it was interesting. By 10th grade, he started putting on a tremendous amount of muscle mass. He grew several inches. His muscles exploded. He had growth hormone and testosterone running through his blood, right? And we're a little bit older, so we don't have that same level of hormone. So it was amazing. Within, I guess, a span of 12 to 24 months, he just became like this, superhuman person from like a little, sort of scrawny kid. And so, we all have this spurt or this area of this sort of super genius or super zone of brilliance, this decade of brilliance. And I usually call it, let's say, the age of 40 to 50. In this decade, you should take advantage of it and, create the most out of your life. Now, if you're after this or even before this, that doesn't preclude you, and it's never too late. Colonel Sanders, founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, started crushing at age 65, right? Richard Branson still creating $1 million companies at such a, advanced age. So never too late, or never too early. Okay, number 5, after success, remain hungry, right? After Buzz Aldrin, was it Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin? My memory fails me, but when they walked on the moon, what happened was they came back to Earth. I mean, they've done this stupendous feat. No one in the history of humanity has ever done this. Celebrated, ticker tape parade, and then they got depressed. They had alcohol. They had all these issues because they didn't have the next big thing. They've already achieved the big thing. So what is the rest of their life about? What's their meaning? These successful individuals, these friends and mentors that I have, they're still thinking about what's next. How else can they go? What else can they do? And how else can they have impact, right? It's not just about money, right? They have enough money at this point, right? They're just trying to figure out, what else can we do to elevate people around us, to create teams, to create success, to create momentum, legacy, and pay it forward. So don't have post-moonwalker syndrome. Come up with your next big goal after you hit your current big goal. And finally, it's all about business systems, teams, delegation, and staying in your zone of genius. Okay. And with that, guys, I wish you well. Until next time, be limitless, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below or simply visit vikramraya.com. So until next time, my friends, be phenomenal.